What's up, everybody? I'm Samantha Nahera, and this is a special episode of the Bean and Chisme Show. Thank you so much for being with me here tonight. Tonight is a very special episode, not your normal chisme, okay? I'm all for the pendejadas and the fun and games. But tonight is called More Than Chisme, and we are going to talk about a very important topic affecting our entire community and our entire country, immigration. And I have the honor of interviewing immigration attorney Jorge Trevino from the Trevino Law Firm here in San Antonio, Texas. And we're just grateful for this opportunity to have these very important conversations. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are live here at Credit Human, downtown San Antonio. I want to give a shout out to our friends over at Credit Human for allowing us to be here this season. They are a credit union dedicated to helping everybody with financial literacy, whether it's banking, loans, things that you need to help life be better, and of course, get us all to the next level. Credit Union is your team. So thank you so much to Credit Human for letting us be here. And yeah, we're going to get the show started. So I would like to start by welcoming our guest, Jorge Trevino. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us who you are, where you're from, and we'll start there.
Got you. My name's Jorge Trevino. Thank you for that introduction. I'm originally from Laredo, Texas. I moved here at 18 to attend St. Mary's University. I graduated with a degree in business marketing. And from here, I moved to Ann Arbor, Michigan for law school. After law school, I moved to Chicago. And I worked there for 5 years in immigration law, and I did a little bit of criminal law too. And then I moved back to Texas to open my own firm, be closer to family and friends.
Back to Texas. Texas always comes calling, right?
That's right.
So, and you know, it's so interesting. So I had reached out to Judge Melanie Lida, and I was like, hey, I know you do immigration. You were an immigration attorney. And do you know anybody who's a subject matter expert? And she recommended you.
Yes.
And so here we are, and so honored to have you here to help us walk through what's happening right now in our country and walk through some of the questions that a lot of us may have. You know, I'm a fourth generation Mexican American. Some people would argue you're American, right? But I'm a proud Mexican American. And I'm one of those girls that I speak Spanglish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I have like maybe a cousin or two in Mexico, but other than that, everybody's here in Texas.
Right.
But there's a lot of friends that I have that are scared for their life. And because of the color of our skin, we're all like, okay, wait, what's happening? And I can't believe I even have to have this conversation right now in 2025.
Yeah, it's very, it's interesting times. The subject matter of immigration seems to be changing every day. The rules are changing every day. The playbook is changing every day. They're changing the ball on us for immigration. It's wild trying to keep up with it.
So what made you want to get in, like you could have been an attorney for anything, but why immigration?
Well, I think my family is a big part of that. I come from a family of immigrants. Both my parents were born in Mexico. Both my parents, my mom and my dad, immigrated to the United States, and they both became lawyers. My mom was actually the first Mexican-born woman to graduate from Texas School of Law, and my dad earned his master's from A&M Kingsville and then his Juris Doctorate from Thurgood Marshall in Houston. They've always been warriors for justice. They've always fought for the man who can't fight for themselves. My dad was a founding member of La Raza Unida in Crystal City and has always had skin in the game for Latinos and the difficulties and the prejudices that we have.
Yeah.
But I think what really turned me into immigration law was in law school. My third year of law school, I took a clinic in immigration law because I didn't want to take a final. If you do a clinic, you don't take a final. So I did they gave me an immigration case, an actual case, and it was a boy from Guatemala who was seeking asylum here. He was 15 years old, and he just had the roughest life in Guatemala, and then his travel to the United States. We ended up winning that case, and that feeling that I had, and seeing the look on his face when the judge granted his application, and he knew that he was able to stay and he was safe from all the harms that he had. That's the feeling. I said, I want that. I want to keep feeling that.
I love that story. And we'll go into that quickly, but I wanted to say, did you know when you were little, looking at your parents and how they were warriors for justice and the things that they were doing, were you like, I'm going to do that already? Or it took a little bit of time before you knew?
Oh no, I knew I always wanted to be a lawyer. I was 9 years old, being a file clerk at their office,
So you already
running
knew.
around, bothering all their secretaries and receptionists.
Aw,
But yeah,
I love that.
I know I always knew I was going to do that.
So speaking of seeking asylum, and you guys, throughout this episode, I'm going to ask just very basic questions because I am that girl. I don't know anything about anything, but I'm a question. I'm very curious about things. So, and I'm sure people at home would appreciate some of the questions. So, seeking asylum. I remember that being a topic last election. Not this one, but the one before that, being like people are coming over here in droves and they're taking over and blah 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 blah. That was the narrative. But when somebody seeks asylum, that means that they're
Well, asylum is a legal benefit that people can request here in the United States. We are part of a convention that was signed in the 70s, and it allows refugees to come into the United States if they are fleeing their home country. So for an asylum case, you need to fear persecution based on your race, your nationality, your religion, your political opinion, or because you're a member of a particular social group. If your fear is based on one of those or the persecution is based on one of those, you qualify for asylum. There are a few other elements you need to prove, but coming and asking for asylum is not illegal. It's not cheating the system. It is a law that is written which people can ask for. And I think that I think that's what the narrative was. These people that are coming in droves, yes, they were coming in droves, but they were seeking asylum.
They were seeking safety and help
the right way.
Got it. And so under this administration, are people still able to seek asylum anymore?
Yes and no. Asylum is still in the books. It's still a law. But one of President Trump's executive orders changed hindered a lot of people's ability to ask for asylum. Typically, to ask for asylum, you need to ask for asylum within 1 year of entry into the United States. So if you entered undocumented, you have to apply within 1 year. Right now at the border, if you come to the border, they're rejecting everybody. You can't, they're just not allowing
We don't
you.
care what you have going on.
Correct.
Sorry, you can't get in.
Correct. And then the other thing that Trump did was extend the parameters for expedited removal. Expedited removal disqualifies you from going in front of an immigration judge and asking for asylum formally or properly. If you've been here for less than 2 years, you're under expedited removal. So that takes out the ability to ask for asylum properly. There's still some safeguards where you can ask, where you express fear and you'll have a credible fear interview with the asylum office. And if that's found credible, then you can go in front of an immigration judge, but it's just extra steps. And it's just made it a lot more difficult for people to seek asylum formally.
Got it. And it's so interesting to me because I remember growing up that, border control has always been, it wasn't a big issue. And it wasn't until this last administration, the Trump administration, that it became a narrative of like, oh my gosh, fear mongering, propaganda, like we're taking over, they're taking over, they're rapists, they're this. And, while I know there's violence in every category of this country, there's violence in every city, violence everywhere. Why do you feel like this in particular is the narrative right now?
I think it's a narrative because it takes focus off of other things, like the lack of legislation being passed for healthcare or anything like that. I think it is, you keep the focus on this, and a huge portion of the country, Trump has tapped into a huge portion of the country that just doesn't want minorities here. They don't want other cultures to overcome or surpass the majority that they have. You keep the narrative on that, and you keep the focus on that, and you, I guess, hide the lack of progress in other aspects of the administration. Yeah,
and it's so interesting because I remember it was like, they're coming for your jobs. Girl, ain't nobody wants your job. Nobody wants to get on that roof. Nobody wants to be cleaning the houses, hotel rooms, those nasty ass beds and those nasty ass sheets. Nobody. So like, I think the narratives just keep going and going and going, and it's just becoming ridiculous. And again, like, I'm not a left-right person, but now I'm becoming a human person.
Yeah,
I'm a human person. I am not a left or right but this is just wrong, like straight up wrong in my opinion. And so now I'm trying to help educate us. Okay, what's happening? Wait, because I feel like things are changing so fast, so quickly. And it's like now this administration is just making up rules of their own that don't, are they constitutional or they're not?
Correct. They're changing every day. We are learning something different. You show up to court and the government is presenting some different argument that is wild and you just have to try to figure out how to hit that curveball. And right now, unfortunately, most of the times we're striking out because they're just not playing within the law. I'll give you an example. Last Friday, there was a memo that the Justice Department sent out to all government attorneys for immigration court, make the argument that nobody's eligible for bond, just nobody's eligible for bond. And if the judge gives bond, we're not going to let them pay the bond. So the few judges there's a lot of judges that are still granting bond, but when the family goes to pay the bond at ICE, they're saying no, and the people remain detained. It's just wild.
That is crazy. And of course, the most important thing that's heartbreaking is the separation of the families. So I thought, again, naive to this talk, I don't know anything about anything, right? This is not my cup of tea. But I thought, well, there's a process, and they'll tell you, okay, if, ma'am, you're not in this country legally, I know you're working here, but you have 30 days to get it together, or not, and you have 30 days to get your stuff and get out, whatever it is. But I feel like the whole ripping of the family and separating the child. And then my thing is, too, what do you think is going to happen with these kids? What do you think is going to happen with these kids? We're already fucked up in America as Americans. So imagine these little kids coming to another country, possibly not speaking the language, being separated from their parents. You think they're going to contribute to society? No, they're going to be criminals themselves. That's what I think. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's traumatic, and it can have lifelong consequences for the entire family. There was a situation when all of this first started. They deported a kid in Arizona who had stage 4 cancer, and he was actually a U.S. citizen because they deported his parents. They deported him too, and then it has lifelong consequences for everybody involved.
Yeah, I think they don't understand what's going to happen as far as the concept.
Or
do they do it? They just don't care.
I think they don't care.
Dang. So, question, and to all of those who are tuning in right now, thank you so much for joining us. We are interviewing immigration attorney and subject matter expert Jorge Trevino from the Trevino Law Firm, and we are walking through immigration, you guys. This is a hot topic, especially affecting the community and the community that watches the Bean and Chisme show, which is predominantly Mexican Americans here in Texas. But we got fans all over the country, all over the world. Thank you for watching, and so just wanted to reintroduce. So I know one of the terminology that I wasn't aware of. What is it called when your parents come here from another country, but you're born here?
Well, that is it's birthright citizenship.
Okay.
You're born in any person born in the United States or a United States territory is a United States citizen. That's in the Constitution. That is the 14th Amendment, I believe. That is law. That can't be changed. If you want to change that, you need 3/4 of the states to ratify it. Trump, in one of his executive orders, is trying to undo that. About 28 different states filed suit against that, and one federal judge issued a countrywide injunction, which was appealed to the Supreme Court. I'm sure everybody has heard in the Supreme Court that we lost that case. We didn't lose that case. We lost the injunction. The court said that a federal judge needs more steps, needs to ask more questions, or there has to be more elements or factors before they issue a countrywide injunction. So basically, in Texas, who didn't join that suit, if an undocumented person has a child here and they want to refuse them a birth certificate, they can. But that doesn't mean that they're not a citizen.
They're still a citizen.
They're still a citizen. That person would have to sue in federal court and have a federal judge deem them a citizen, and they would win that case. I guess the goal, in my opinion, is to make it difficult. Not everybody has money for an attorney to take that suit or to file that claim in federal court, and people are just going to give up and say, "Okay, I guess we're not a citizen."
That's wild. That's so wild. I mean, you would think that people who are born here are just born here and they don't have to worry about it. Do you feel like this administration could possibly be like, "Hey, it doesn't matter if you were born here, you got to go because your parents are not from this country"?
I wouldn't put it past them to try.
Because they're trying. That's exactly what's happening, right? Yeah. That's just crazy. So what is a dreamer then?
A dreamer is a childhood arrival, somebody who entered the United States before the age of 15 that were brought by their parents by no fault of their own. They went to school here, they graduated, or they are employed, or they went into the military. They are able to get DACA status, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival. It's a protection from removal, typically, and they're awarded a work authorization, a social security number, and they're able to renew that every 2 years. Obviously, they can't have they can't commit certain crimes or anything like that.
Right.
But it's basically a status to prevent removal. So far, the people that have obtained DACA generally have a pretty good protection from removal. But that's, again, something that has been trying
It's
to
in the
take
air,
over.
right? Because I remember that being a big deal a couple of years ago. Like,
The previous administration tried to expand it, and Texas sued because they don't want it to expand. Texas is very conservative and doesn't want more immigrants here. And the case is actually still going, and there was an injunction. That injunction is no longer in place, and it's actually in Texas. If you have DACA, you can continue renewing it. If you're in any other of the 49 states, new applications are being accepted. So Texas is the only one that's not expanding. Every other state is.
gotcha. Wow.
So if you're from Texas, move, and you are trying to get DACA, move to another state.
Yeah, that's gonna happen here in Texas. Sad, but true. Okay, so and then another interesting question I had was Melania Trump, and I've always been interested in her path here, per se. How come Melania Trump is an immigrant who came to the United States, got her citizenship, dual citizenship? Probably,
She's a citizen now, yes.
Okay, she's a citizen now, and then she brought her parents over because she used her citizenship to get her parents over from where she's from.
Correct.
So what is the difference between her and somebody else who may have had the same path getting here?
Well, I mean, one, she's the president's wife.
But
I think
before that, like homegirl was here before she
That's
was dating,
true.
you know what I'm saying?
She entered with and it was an employment visa. It was a valid employment visa. It was a visa of extraordinary abilities. I believe she was a model.
So she was a model.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Tyra
And they were
Banks
like,
level, but
you're
she was-
working
right.
and you're okay to come to this country because you're a model.
Right. And I'm not sure the
whatever
specifics,
profession.
but she renewed it to the point where she got her residency, or I don't know if she married somebody who petitioned for her. Her process was valid. And then once she became a citizen, she brought her parents over. I mean, but that's the same argument as an anchor baby, right? She came in and started bringing her family. That's
Right.
That's what an anchor baby. An anchor baby is what people are calling birthrights. Children of undocumented individuals who are born here, anchor babies. They can bring their family over here. I don't like that term, but it's the most commonly used term.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that's something that I wanted to bring up to our audience and just people in general. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of other Mexicans who came here on a work visa where you came to do a job or you came here for education or whatever. And then you got your residency and then you brought your family over. And so I feel like that's a narrative of, again, negative. It's like negative connotation when it's from a Mexican as opposed to a model from where is she from? I don't want to get it wrong because I know it's some country that
Eastern European country. I'm not sure
I
which
don't
one.
want to say Russia. I don't want to say the wrong country. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to make that a point. But yeah, so I also wanted to get into what are we doing now? Like what is happening now? And also after that, what do we do to protect ourselves? Because I never thought we were going to be in a situation of these raids. You hear about these raids happening at random restaurants and hotels and businesses. And it's horrible to watch people getting separated from their families. And some people will argue, well, the ICE has been around forever and they've been doing that. But now it's more glorified. So why is it a big deal now? And I'm like, no, because like you said, they'll show up to court for their case, whatever, and they'll still be denied or like taken right then and there without warning.
Right. Well, I think it's important to talk about how immigration law works. Immigration is an administrative law. It's not a criminal law. And it is not, the immigration courts are not Article 3 courts. They are, the directives, the policies are established by the administration. So they change with every presidency, right? So the previous administration had their priorities. Their priorities were people with criminal convictions or people who had multiple violations of immigration law. This administration has no priority. Everybody's a priority. Anybody and everybody who does not have documentation, whether you've been here for 20 years and married to a U.S. citizen and have 6 citizen kids, property owner, business owner.
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter. We're going after you.
Dang.
And the narrative at the beginning was we're going after criminals. They weren't getting enough criminals, so now they're going after everybody. So that's the problem that we are seeing ourselves in, where the previous administration had these policies where they started offering deferred. They were closing cases for people that were in immigration proceedings. They would say, "You're not a priority. It doesn't help us to remove you. It doesn't benefit us. We're just going to close the case. You're not getting any status, but you can remain in the United States."
Okay.
This administration is going back after all those people that those proceedings were closed to bring them back and try to remove them. People who are reporting, so like people who entered with a CBP-1 program. The previous administration had this program. It's called CBP-1, which was made or put in place to counteract all these arguments that all these people are coming and they're coming in droves. Well, they made the system where you apply for it in your country. When your number's up, you can come in. And you don't come in and you gain status. You come in and here's your court date. And you can ask for asylum. And if you don't win, then you're going to be deported back. So they did it the right way.
Okay.
And then this administration cancels that program. Everybody who's in that program is now reporting to their ICE check-ins because they were released, right? So they go check in, they're detaining them. And now they're arrested, and now they have to fight the case while they're detained. Most people are just giving up because they don't want to be detained.
This is wild.
I think we're going to say wild a lot.
Wild. I say wild a lot.
No, we are. I say it too.
Yeah, because today I was like, I get my mind blown every day of what's happening. So why, and then there's another question I have, and it's an obvious answer, but I still want it to be answered. Italians, Germans, Asians, Indians, why Mexicans? Like, why particularly the Hispanic population is being targeted? Because this is a country of immigrants. We are a country, it's a blend of people from all around, and that's what makes us so beautiful. What is it? Home of the brave, land of the free.
Mm-hmm.
That was like, we were so proud of that. We used to be so proud of that. And now it's just such a horrible thing to be like, oh, you're not Mexican, you're not Mexican American. It's this whole narrative of like just the Mexican. Like there's Italians that have come over here and established businesses and they have beautiful families and generations of beautiful history. And like, why is it us?
Right. I don't know. I mean, I think this is my opinion. I think these laws are racist. I think, and the people who are putting into action all these policies are racist people. I think this white male demographic sees this white Christian demographic, right? Sees the growing population of mixed culture, of Hispanic culture, and I don't think they want to lose their majority, because when they lose their majority, they lose their power, and I don't think they want to lose their power.
What do you say to people who say that's not true? I am white and I'm a Christian and I believe in basic human rights, but I believe that our country is, these borders just can't be open, and if they break the law, they shouldn't break the law. So they don't deserve to be here. What do you say to somebody who talks like that?
I would say, first of all, immigration is not the mere presence in the United States is not breaking the law. Immigration law is an administrative law. It is not a criminal law. You don't penalize criminally immigration violations. They are civil violations. You get fined. You don't get jail time. Not to say that there aren't any immigration-related crimes in the criminal code, but those are very particular. I'll give you an example. For somebody who enters the United States without documentation,
okay,
and remains for over 2 years, if they're ever detained, they cannot be charged criminally. There is no statute to charge them criminally, to give them jail time. For somebody who overstays a tourist visa, cannot charge them criminally. For somebody like these people who entered with a parole and they're told, you're going to go to immigration court, and that immigration court never comes, that's not a crime. That's a violation.
So the difference between criminal is if you can go to jail.
Correct.
And the civil is like it's a fine, it's a fee or a probation
Correct.
situation? Okay.
Correct. Now, like, let's say you've been deported before and then you re-enter, that's a crime. But that's not the majority of people that are here. The majority of the people here have committed no crime.
Right, and they're still getting...
That's where I would start with those individuals.
Let's start there.
Right.
So yeah,
Information is important. They
yeah.
need to know. They
Yeah.
need to know what the law is.
and I think that's the most important thing I'm learning here. That there's a law. There is a law, and talk about breaking the law. Like the administration's breaking the law then, because it's a law saying that just because you're an immigrant, you're not breaking any laws. I didn't know that. For some reason, I was just like, oh, and I was on the same page with a lot of people. I was like, well, yeah, if they're coming over here and taking it, of course, and open borders aren't good, but then you understand that that's not the whole story.
Right. Well, and there's a difference. Administrative law is a law. You are breaking the law, but you're not committing a crime.
There you go. I'm sorry. Committing a crime.
Yes.
There you go. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Got it.
I think it's an important distinction because
Yes.
they are referring to them as criminals, not
Right.
lawbreakers. Criminals. And they're not. They're not criminals.
Yeah. So now with these raids going on and people being deported, what happens next? What do you do? What is your role? And are you representing people? What kind of people are you representing, and what kind of work are you doing?
My focus is on removal defense and affirmative applications, family applications. So for instance, this afternoon, right before leaving the office, a client of mine, the wife of a client of mine, called me and informed me that her husband was detained, which was shocking to me because he is still in removal proceedings from before. His proceedings are administratively closed, which means they're technically still open. We just don't have a court date. They're technically still open, so we can do, because he's married to a U.S. citizen and there's other options for him. So we're doing those before we go back to court to terminate proceedings. And he left his house, was driving to work. He has a valid driver's license. They stop him and they say, that's not good anymore, and we're taking you in.
Wow.
For no reason. He didn't commit
And
any
this was
crime.
here in Texas?
This was in Laredo.
Wow. And she didn't get to say bye to her husband?
No, she
bye.
called me crying. So I inform her that we will try to get him out on bond, but due to last week's shift in the government's arguments and a lot of the judges agreeing with that argument for some reason, before we start the process, I have to inform her that it's a risk. We may not be able to do this, but this is the only option. He may be detained. We may have to fight this while he's detained. It's not information you want to give your client. You want to give them hope.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to give false hope.
So when somebody gets detained, where do they go?
They typically go to a processing center where they are interviewed and they determine whether or not they are going to be NTA'd. That's a notice to appear in front of an immigration judge, or subject to expedited removal, where they don't have the right and they're just going to be removed from the country. After that processing center, they'll go to a detention center, and then that's where they wait for either be bonded out or for their court hearing and a decision.
And how long could that possibly take?
Right now, since these raids started, there was a backlog in immigration court. I think there was like three.
There really was, right?
There was like 3.5 million cases that were pending.
Oh my God.
Since these raids started, I think it's gone up to 4.5 million. So last week I was at a preliminary hearing. It's called a master calendar hearing, where they scheduled an individual hearing, which is the trial. That's the last court date. They are scheduling them out until January. So this person was detained in May, and their final hearing will be in January. So, 8 months, 9 months.
And even like there's been controversy about the detention centers and how you're getting treated there. Do you go to the detention centers to get to see your clients? Like, can families go to detention centers and your last name is Hernandez?
Yeah.
I don't understand. What is that even called? What is that even called? We call them coconuts.
Yeah.
Or Oreos. Girl, you forget where you're from.
Right.
You forget the people that crossed the border and had to do so many sacrifices for you to have what you have today.
Yeah. I read an article that it takes 2 generations for you to disassociate from your heritage, where you come from. Or that's what this article said. So I don't know if it's some sort of entitlement, some sort of we're better than you because America has this idea that we're the best country. I've been to other countries; they're just as great. But I don't know. I think it's this idea that you become an American and you're better, and these two generations removed, you forget or don't even think about what your grandparents went through, the sacrifices they did to get here, or what they gave up.
Right. And I don't understand it. And growing up, this is so horrible, but with my own within my own Mexican family, they would say racist things that I didn't understand until I was an adult. So they would say mayate. Mayate means like a wet person, right? Like or wetback is what we use. But that's like now that I think, I'm like, that's horrible. Or like calling black person a mayate, like they're probably gonna bleep me out on Facebook or something, but like, that is horrible. And I'm like, how could you be like that towards your own people or like anybody in general? Just calling them anything is awful.
Yeah.
I think our generation is now clicking to how bad that was and how bad it is.
Right. I think it's this idea of disassociating with something that's, I don't know, this idea that it's less than, or this idea that that culture, that country is less than what we are now, or poorer or dirtier.
Right. I'm Mexican, but I'm not that Mexican.
Right,
what?
Which is crazy. I think multicultural is beautiful. I think that's what makes us great.
Exactly. And, the country's a melting pot, especially in Texas. Like, you can't throw a rock with somebody being like half something, a quarter this, a quarter that. Of course, with my family, a lot of they're mixed. Everybody's mixed with something. And so how could I ever be racist against anything? White, black, it don't even matter. We're all a little bit of something now at this point.
Exactly.
But back to your point, there's people who don't like that.
Right. And I
don't like that.
And I think it's an uneducated idea.
Got it.
I think they don't try to inform themselves about the value of what that culture, what that community, or what that country can provide or has. I think it's
taught too.
Yeah.
Monkey see, monkey do. My mom and dad didn't like them. No, I don't like them.
Right.
That kind of thing.
It's this idea that, these people in power are not that, and they talk bad about that. So I'm not going to associate with that.
Right. I got it. So now that we are here and raids are happening left and right, and I never thought that I would be in a position to have to educate myself on what to say if ICE comes and questions my legal status. I never thought that. And I'm going to have to teach my daughter too. She's 11. So we have a graphic that we're going to put up, and these are the top 4 things that you can do. So I just want to walk through that with you. What happens when you get stopped by ICE, and to educate and help our friends?
Well, you always have the right to remain silent. You have the right to.
But do you though? Because they're gonna beat you or something.
Well, you do. You have the right to remain silent.
Okay.
And again, this goes back to them not working within the laws that we have, right? But should everybody remain silent? Probably not, right? Especially now with these new changes. For instance, people who had just come in these last 2 years, they want to remain silent. But if you've been here for 10 years, you want to say, hey, hell no, I've been here for 10 years. I'm not under this expedited order of removal, right? Mm-hmm. So, I think it's very case specific, but you do have that right to remain silent. You have the right to refuse a search without a warrant. You have the right to an attorney. It's very important not to lie, because then you can get in trouble for that. Those rights are like if you're stopped out in public. If you're being arrested, don't resist. My recommendations, if you have the ability to, or if you're with a friend or a family, have them record everything that is going down. Have them record, because you need to have proof or evidence of the violations that were taken when you were detained. And then we can deal with that later.
Subconsciously, like, just stay calm. You didn't do anything wrong. Maybe you were speeding, So I can't imagine what it feels like with the big guns and the masks and the yelling and the screaming. And then you're just like caught off guard. Like, what did I do wrong kind of thing? Like, that would freak me out.
It's scary. I don't know what I would do. It's.
And then there you are, like spilling your gut, or you didn't even have to say anything. You could even say, I'm not even opening my door, from what you just told me.
Right.
If they don't have a warrant that's signed by a judge, you have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. And what was the 4th one? Do we have a 4th one? But like you said, if you do get arrested, just don't resist.
Refuse a search. You can refuse a search.
You can say, don't touch me?
Yeah.
Well, what if they touch you?
Record.
Record. I hate that we have to say this. This is terrible, but hey, it's the reality of what we're living in. And remind our audience, and remind me again, and remind our audience, what is the difference, but like, why is this administration I remember it was, like you said, it was criminals that the administration was like, you know what? We don't want immigrants who are criminals in this country. Whatever, they need to go.
I think that was
But
just
now it's like everybody's got to go.
right.
What's the emergency though? Like,
there isn't any. I think that was the talking point to try to get people on board. And I mean, you do see some people from the right saying like, "Oh, whoa, this isn't like farmers. Farmers are very pissed right now because they don't have any."
heck
of their
yeah,
workers.
they are.
Hotels don't have workers, and they're like, "Wait, this isn't what we talked about. We talked about criminals." But I think this was the plan all along. Everybody. But to get people to go along with it, they were saying criminals.
And now they're just like anybody and everybody who's.
The proof is in the pudding. This is what's happening.
Crazy to me. Do you feel like eventually this will get? Do you feel like there's any hope? Will it get better? I don't know. And that's the thing is, I tell people this is who you voted for. This is who you voted for, and I would like to say it's fair. I want to just believe in our system here in the United States because I believed in it when Biden won. So when Trump won, I'm like, okay,
yep,
it was fair when he won. It's going to be fair when Trump wins, and this is who you voted for. Like, this is what we're gonna like. When is this gonna end? 4 years?
Can you imagine? It's only been 7 months,
dude. Okay, and that's what I'm saying. Like, he just inaugurated in January.
Yeah, and he didn't start until the end of January. So let's say February. It's crazy. I don't know. I have no expectation or belief that this guy has any plans to make a pathway for anybody. So next administration, and hopefully they try to correct the wrongs that were done in this administration. 2 days ago, there is a bipartisan bill that was proposed. It's called the Dignity Act. It's anybody who's been here for more than 5 years can pay a penalty of $7,000 over the next 7 years, and then commit
somebody who came to this country, worked, tried to get citizenship, and then they got deported for whatever unfair reason. I don't know if you have that or an interesting.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of those, but let's talk about bond first.
Okay.
So, recently, the Board of Immigration Appeals, which is the appeals tribunal for immigration, they published a decision. And in that decision, they stated that people who recently entered the United States, who are applicants for admission into the United States and are caught near a port of entry, are ineligible for bond. That they are under, it gets into legalese, but let's just leave it. That's the basic subject matter of it. That they're not eligible for bond. I've had individuals who have been here for 20 years. So they're not applying for admission. They're not recent applicants or recent entrants into the United States. And immigration judges are denying them bond, saying that they are applicants for admission. I think that's unfair. They've been here for, in this one of my cases, the gentleman has been here for 18 years. He has 6 United States citizen children. One of his daughters is going through severe therapy because she's been a victim of abuse. And he's been detained for 2 months now, and she's just going backwards. This would be a person you should release. The family, he was the breadwinner, so the family is losing money. The family can't afford to pay rent. They have moved in with friends and family, and the family has had to split up because they're such a big family.
Wow.
That's unfair.
And he was working.
He was at work, and there was a raid.
And where was this at?
And also, he was a business owner, and he had paid taxes for the last 10 years.
Oh, forget the fact that immigrants pay taxes.
Yep.
Yeah, let's just not even. We haven't even talked about that part.
Yep.
Wow. And they said denied.
Yep.
Can he come back?
Well, he's detained. We're still fighting.
He's detained, so he hasn't been.
He wanted to sign and ask for his removal. I said, "This is a case we'll win. I know you're going to wait until December, but we need to fight this case." And he agreed.
And I can't imagine what that does to their family, just waiting for their dad to come home. You know,
and
if he can come home.
Correct. And then it even gets worse. So, before there's fees for all these defenses, there's application fees. It was $130. It's called a 42B cancellation of removal.
A 42B.
Yeah. So the fee was $130. This big, beautiful bill raised that fee to $1,500. So now the family has to pay
Holy
$1,500 for
moly.
him to be able to have his day in court.
Just for a possible yes or no.
Correct.
That is just wild. You would think, oh, we do have a question. Let's get the question. So Erica is asking if your application is approved for residency, but you're waiting on your green card, are you at risk of deportation?
If it's already been approved, you're already a resident. But residents are at risk of deportation if they commit crimes. If they, it's not a 100% you're forever going to be a resident. There are conditions to being a resident. You need to pay taxes. You can't commit certain crimes. But generally, if you are stopped by immigration, just show that paper that shows your approval. You may get detained and processed, and then they'll run it through the system, but you should be fine.
Girl, don't get out and go.
It takes 2 weeks for the card to get here. Okay.
Fake paperwork.
Well, I mean, right. I'm looking at every aspect here. If you're caught with fake papers, you're going to have a criminal charge.
Dang.
Is writing on it. It's heavy. When you lose, it hurts. And by the time you get into an individual hearing and you're at that point where they're giving a decision, you're part of the family. You're part of their family.
You've been on a ride, a roller coaster with them.
Losses hurt. Losses are painful. Wins feel great.
Gosh, I can't even imagine. Well, thank you. Oh, we got another question.
So what would you say to dreamers? Maybe their visas have expired, residencies expired, who don't have enough money to pay for, think that they don't have enough money to pay for an attorney? Like what?
Ooh, good question.
Would you give them? So I know a lot of people might feel like, hey, I don't have the funds, I can't do anything. So
Where do I go? Yeah, and repeat the question if you.
Yes. He asked.
If you have a
Gabriel
dreamer,
asked if you're a dreamer and your employment authorization document has expired and you don't have money to renew, what can you do? There's a lot of organizations that help. There's a lot of organizations that do this for free. Catholic Charities is an organization that you can go to that they can help you fill out the information. There's a lot of those types of organizations. If you don't have money for the filing fee, I know like if you're Mexican and you go to the Mexican consulate, they'll give you the money to pay for this. They'll also give you money for an attorney. So I would reach out to your consulate. There's a lot of organizations that want to help too. There's a lot of people that want to help. They're out there. Got to find them.
So find the help. And if we have any links, maybe I'll ask you for some links that we could possibly share. I'll definitely share those resources as well. Sure. So anything else that you feel like we need to know right now? I know there's a lot, and I know it's changing every day. But anything else before we wrap up? Any other questions? I know we could go on forever.
Right. Oh, we can. I think it's important to know that. I think it's important to know that the laws haven't changed. I think so the laws that were around 20 years ago are still the laws today. Immigration is not a law that changes easily. There hasn't been an immigration reform for over 25 years. So if you qualify for something, go for it. You will be protected if you're working with an immigration attorney. We will do everything we can to protect you. Don't let this fear-mongering prevent you from going after what you have a right to go after.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Jorge Trevino, so much for your expertise. We are so appreciative because this has just been something burning in my heart and our minds right now. I know I'm that way, and I know a lot of other people feel the same way. So this has been very informative, very helpful. Follow him on all platforms. Of course, we're leaving his phone number, his website. You can call Jorge. Is there any? Do you have lots of secretaries on standby, or what is the best way for people to reach you? Just to call?
Yes, you can call, or you can also text that number, and we'll get back to you.
You can text the number. Okay,
this weekend.
perfect. So yeah, definitely share the information with a friend who you also feel could use help from an attorney. And of course, there's going to be resources we'll share to also get you that stuff that if you can afford an attorney, this is what you can do. So that is it for our More Than Chisme episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you next time.